Hello everyone. This is Gaëlle Lecourt. I'm a life and business coach, and I mentor women to basically get out of the corporate 9 to 5 that they feel stuck in, to really start their own business and empowering them to start their dream life. So today we are in live, both in Facebook Live and Periscope, and I want to talk about how important your words are for you to realize your goals. And so for that, I'm going to talk to you about Conscious Language, the book from Robert Tennyson, and I will also, give you really real example how I did successfully get out of my 9 to 5 2 years ago, and how I successfully moved from the US to Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and how shaping my language and what I was saying was playing a super important part of me realizing my dream and my lifestyle. So for those of you who know me, you basically know that in end of 2013, beginning of 2014, I was very frustrated into my work, and I had been for 10 years working into the flavor industry as a research scientist. And I was basically, after 10 years, slowly shifting away. My values were really, really different than the value that brought me into working into the food industry to begin with. And slowly I did a yoga teacher training. I got super, super tired of the winter. In 2014 was horrible in the US, and I'm pretty sure in France as well. And I was basically tired of this. And I really had reached the point that I really wanted to take my power back, and that I really wanted to redesign my life. And if you ask many people who were close to me at that time, I really see myself again, I was in my apartment, and my friends would come over, they would get up the stairs, and I would look at them from upstairs, on the top of the stairs. And, they would have to get off their boots because it was snowing, etc. And of course, they were bitching about the weather. And they were basically really accepting that. And I remember myself telling them, this is the last winter I spent in Cincinnati. And me saying that was very powerful, because basically I knew it was in February. Guaranteed, I knew I wanted to change my life, but I didn't know yet if I wanted to be in Playa del Carmen, because I was visiting Playa del Carmen over Valentine's Day in 2014. But so in January, when I just knew this was the last winter I would spend in Cincinnati. And as I go and visit Playa del Carmen and fell in love with it, I slowly realized that I could really live there, because it was really European, it was warm weather, and a lot of people were working online. And so slowly, my dream shaped into I'm gonna quit my job, and I'm gonna sell everything, and I'm gonna go to Playa del Carmen. Now, at that time, I didn't know if I would stay here to live there, or if it was just the beginning of a 1 year or 2 years or 3 years around the world trip. But I knew at the beginning I wanted to, it felt like a safe base to start with. But honestly, I had bought books, about traveling in Central America and South America. I really didn't know. And after visiting Playa del Carmen, it really got into me that I will be in Playa del Carmen before my next birthday, which was November 21. And so at that time, you can ask everybody around me, all my friends, and I was just telling them, if they were talking to me, about Christmas or whatever, I was like, well, I don't know, I'll be in Playa del Carmen before my birthday. Or if I was saying how frustrated I was at work, and people would ask me, they would ask me well, what do you plan on doing? I would say, I will be living in Playa del Carmen before my birthday. Because this is something that was super important for me. I did give myself this promise while I was visiting Playa del Carmen in February. And so it was really important that I kept this this language, using those words, you know, instead of saying like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna travel the world, maybe this, maybe that, then what that brings to your reality is just uncertainty. So it's really, really important to decide which words are you going to use. You know very well this quote, you know, that we become what we think, and so that the thoughts we have are becoming a reality. So if you take, for example, a tree, if you plant a seed into the ground, and if 3-6 months later you have a weed coming out, will you actually just, you know, cut the weed and hope that something else is going to spring? No. You need to change the seed for it to become something different 6 months later. And it's the same with our thoughts and what we speak. You have to really change how you think and speak to change your reality 6 months later. You see what I mean? So you really have to use conscious language, being very specific. For example, when I was saying this is the last winter I'm going to spend in Cincinnati, or I will move to Playa del Carmen, or I will live in Playa del Carmen by my next birthday, there is no uncertainty. It's super precise. So let's take another example. A lot of time, you know, when I ask women who want to work with me, what is their goal? That's the first thing, you know, to know if I can help them in achieving their goal. I need to know if, like, what are their goals? And, you know, sometimes if somebody says like, well, I want happiness. Well, you see, when you say I want happiness, there is like no connection between you and happiness. So let's take one level more conscious. If you say, I want myself to be happy, or I am happy in my dream job, my dream lifestyle, I am happy, then you make a connection. What do you want? You want I am, to be happy. Now, in the book, Robert is explaining, you know, like, well, you can get one level more and be more specific. I am happy with my new job. Okay, so now you have, I am happy with my new job. You are in the picture. You actually are specific with regards to what you want to be happy. It's your new job. But then you can be even more and more specific. I am happy with my new job, which pays me $100,000 a year, which allows me to visit my family in France every year, which allows me to have my weekends for spending time with my family, time off myself, which is a service to humanity, which allows me to live by a warm beach in the Caribbean. That was one of mine, actually, and it's reality. I live by a warm beach, especially during the winter in Mexico. So you can be very, very specific. Being specific is really important, and then connecting is also really important, connecting with what you're saying. And so I want you to really make sure that every sentence you start are actually starting with I am, I can, I will, I choose, I have, I love, I create, and I enjoy. So I'm going to say them again for you. Every time you want to use conscious language, start your sentences or your journaling or your affirmation using I am, I can, I will, I choose, I have, I love, I create, I enjoy. I am a very successful entrepreneur who attracts many clients through amazing copywriting, for example. I can develop a multi-million dollars business doing what I love and respecting myself and my values. And, you know, you would go into like specifying what are your values. I will go to this igloo hotel in Finland to see the Northern Lights. I choose to express my gratefulness for every little things and every person who is improving my life every day. I love coaching people from all over the world. I create an amazing group program and retreat in Playa del Carmen in November, for example. Let me restart my Periscope. I think it crashed. Up. Sorry about that, guys. I hope it's doing good on Facebook Live. Is the sound good on Facebook Live? Can you guys hear me okay? Otherwise, we're gonna have to do some YouTube video, I guess. Up. Let me do that real quick. Here we're gonna be back on in Periscope in 2 seconds. All right, so you see what I mean? Like, I enjoy spending time traveling the world between Mexico, the US, and France, for example, and this is what's happening. So, perfect. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you very much. So I really want you to be also mindful towards how you choose the goals, because often, you know, people are like, well, I wanna stop being sick. And when you say, I want to stop being sick, for example, you are actually focusing on what you don't want, which is being sick. So you would have to be very mindful when you choose your goal to choose what you want to have. Hi, this Periscope is about how to use conscious language and how your words are super important to meet your goals, basically. So you have to really choose which goal you want to have. And you're welcome, which goal you want to reach. So if you want to say, like, I want to lose 5 pounds, for example, well, let's switch that. Which clothing size do you want to have? Like, I want to wear that size in dresses, for example. So really be mindful about, it's really good to know what you don't want, but when you are creating affirmation and when you are talking about your goals, it's super important to actually talk about what do you want to achieve into like a positive term. So if you want to be like in perfect health, for example, you would also go to be more specific. You would be saying like, I want to have a perfect health, which allows me to travel the world and run a marathon or play with my kids, that kind of things, you know, like you would always attach it to what does it mean. So for example, for me, when I quit my job in 2014, and I moved to Playa del Carmen, I wanted to have a freedom lifestyle. And so when I was setting my goal to start my own business, I was really specific about what does freedom means to me. And so I really had specifically into my mind that freedom means I can go back to Europe whenever I want to visit my family and spend time with my niece so that I can really have quality time with her as she grows up. But I also wanted to spend time into a warm beach city in the winter because I was just so done with winter in the US. So this is the kind of like, you really have to define what is it that you want. Now, the next upgrade I wanted to talk to you about is avoiding saying I want, because I want is, it comes from like a lack mindset. And I would rather have you say I choose, or I have this abundant mindset, instead of saying like I want to have this abundance mindset. You actually use the conscious language and you select like I have an abundance mindset. So that's super important. So the third trick I wanted to talk to you about for conscious language is also, when you set your goals, really make sure that you're connecting with what you're saying. So, for example, instead of saying, I want to have more money, you would say, I choose to have my money increase every day. So you really connect, it's my money, it's my family, it's my world. It's really, connecting, like the I am, you're making it very personable. And so something super important I wanted to tell you is every limiting language pattern that you have and that you become conscious about reveals a new choice that is really waiting to be made. And so each time you really pick yourself, oh, I said I want, oh, I said this in the other way. Each time you become conscious of a limiting pattern, language pattern, you can actually consciously make the decision to change it. And that decision and that choice, that new choice, will really lead you into becoming a new person and to have a new reality. So the 4 basics of conscious language, let me repeat them as bullet points for you. 1 is to speak what you choose. So you're very mindful about not talking about your anti-goals, so something that you actually don't want. You really speak only what you choose to project into the world and make realize. You always speak personal. You speak with the first person. I am, I can, I choose, I will, I enjoy, I create, all of those. Be very specific. The more specific you are, the more details you have into your mind is what's going to arrive into your reality. And then really be aligned with your feelings. And so, the second story I wanted to share with you is really about, I have many women who call me onto like a discovery call to see if they, if it's a good fit for that person and myself for me to coach her. And one of the first questions when they have to apply to work with me, it's what are your goals? And a lot of time when I read, the answers to those, it's a lot of story. I feel sometimes like the goal is so unclear, it cannot be reached. Because, so there is story and there is excuses, of potentially why they didn't, like, how is their world and why did they not make that story happen or that goal happen. And really, you have to realize a goal is really like a 2 or 3 sentences. So already when I see like a 1 page coming in, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a story, and I'll be super lucky if I find what is the goal that this person is trying to explain to me. And so often I realize like the goal is not specific at all. There is no measure of how this person is going to reach it. Or like if they tell me like I want to have a successful business, like, well, what does successful mean to you? Is that monetary? Is that the time you have free for yourself? Is it the number of relationship and collaboration you have? It could so many different meaning could be put behind that. So you may or may not know, but I will remind you, if you've spent a lot of time in corporate, luckily, hopefully you know that, but we often say that a goal has to be SMART. It has to be specific, and so that goes with the conscious language that I was talking to you about, to be very, very specific. To be measurable and motivating, of course. To be A, for actionable and achievable. R, being relevant and realistic. And T, being time-related and trackable. And I really want you, to realize, like, when someone is telling me their goals, one of the first questions I ask is like, well, what's the overall strategy? Like, what are you trying to achieve? What is this goal serving you? So that is really like, is that relevant to the end results you want to be? Like, this is your goal in the next 3 to 6 months, but what is your goal 3 years down the road? What are you trying to achieve? And then you really have to make it so that you can track it. In coaching, it's super important for us to be able to see what are the different milestones so that people can see their progress, because it's very, very important to always look back and see your progress. It's part of like the self-motivation to accomplish your goals and to see, are you going into the right direction? Are the action you're taking actually getting you closer to your goal or not? There is no more disappointing than just doing a bunch of stuff, not knowing if it's driving you to like the goal you're trying to reach. So having really goals that are measurable with specific measures and milestone, something that you can track, something that you can know, did I achieve it? Am I arrived? A lot of time, it happened with one client recently. We had finished her coaching package earlier than, it was a 3 months package, and we finished it earlier. And it felt really weird for that person because she kind of felt lost because she was sitting on her target. And so we had, a conversation during one session where I was like, hey, you are on your goal, on your target, you reached it. That's why it feels weird. Now you have to create the next goal you want to reach. And so it's really interesting because if your goal is not achievable, you will be forever trying to reach it. If you don't know clearly when, I want more happiness. Well, more happiness, that doesn't mean anything because it's, more than what? What is the clear measure of you being happy? And so this is really, really, really important. When you set your goals, and when you speak, when you are talking to your friends or your colleagues about your goals, you really have to be very specific and really, really choosing consciously your words so that the reality you create is exactly the one you desired. Again, like I said, this was super helpful for me when I was leaving my corporate job. I was 10 years in that corporate job. If you ask many people, it was just impossible that I make that move, simply because I grew up in a family with 2 parents who were government workers, and I grew up into a model of family and life that clearly showed me that security was more important than passion, and that choosing a secure job was more important. As a matter of fact, when I had to choose my engineering school, my parents, were really trying to push me to choose a school where I would have been a government worker, where like all my studies would have been paid by the government, and then I owed 7 or 10 more years to the government, the French government. And, they were saying like, well, you got a secure job for 10 years. And I didn't choose that one, but still, I grew up into this model that security was the #1 priority. And today I really disagree with that. I really, really disagree with that. And so everybody you would have asked would have told you that, looking back at my culture and my upbringing, wow, leaving my job, leaving a super good career and a super nice duplex, like I had on the paper, I had everything to be happy. Everything in Cincinnati, and it didn't do it for me. And I really had to look inside to be like, okay, is this good enough or not? Or do I really believe there is something more in me, and go do it? So if you have any questions, or if you want me to review all your, how to write those goals, I know that's a lot of information. I definitely recommend The Conscious Language from Robert Tennyson, if you want to dive more into that. But if you want to try, to work onto the different affirmations and different goals that you're writing for yourself, either share, comment on this video, share them, and we can review them. You can have my feedback. If you want to know more about how we can work together, I invite you to go to book a discovery call with me. It's www.calendly.com/Gaëlle Lecourt, GAELLELECOURT, /discovery. And right now I have a special going on, and it will end tonight. You can find it onto my Facebook group, Finding Yourself Abroad, Reclaim Your Personal Freedom. It's called the Get It Done package, and it's basically in 30 days, we pick one goal and we just achieve it. We get it done. I'm on your back, and for sure you will achieve it. You can go onto my website, see what my client Luna has done after a month of working with me in a Get It Done package. She basically she's a photographer, and she basically went from shooting once every 4 months to shooting 3 times a week. And she actually had to hire a production assistant to help her with all the photo shoots she had to do. So again, feel free to connect with me or send me a message or a comment onto this video, or onto my Facebook group, Finding Yourself Abroad, Reclaim Your Personal Freedom. And I'll be super happy to give you really more questions or more feedback onto your goals or the conscious language you're trying to achieve. With that, if you have any questions, shoot them now. Otherwise, I wish you a very, very good Friday and a good weekend. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.